I grew up in Kumasi, in one of those old family compounds in Edum, the kind where 6 or 7 families share a courtyard. Everyone knows everyone's business, and the walls are thick enough to hold secrets. Something happened to me that I've never been able to explain. It happened in 2019. I was 23 years old and working a customer service job at a telecom company downtown. I was living with my aunt, who happens to be my father's sister, because rent in Kumasi had gone mad and I wasn't ready to share a single room with 4 strangers. My aunt, called Auntie Vida, was a good woman, quiet. She attended church every Sunday and sometimes on Wednesdays. She had her ways, but she made me feel safe. The compound had 6 rooms facing a shared courtyard. Auntie Vida's room was at the back. Mine was the small room beside hers, which used to be a storage room before they put in a window and called it a bedroom. It was barely enough for a bed and a small wardrobe, but it was mine. The window faced the back wall of the compound, maybe 3 meters away. It was just a concrete wall, painted yellow once upon a time, but now faded and stained by years of rain. Nothing interesting, nothing to look at. The first night was a Wednesday in October. I'd worked a late shift and came home tired. I ate the leftover contomere stew Auntie Vida had left covered on the stove and went straight to bed. I didn't even shower. I was that tired. I fell asleep quickly. I woke up at exactly 2:14 a.m. I know the time because my phone was on the floor with the screen facing up, and when my eyes opened, I saw it clearly. I don't know what woke me. There was no sound, no movement. Just waking up suddenly, as if someone had pressed a switch. The room was dark, but not completely. There was a faint light coming through the window from the compound security bulb around the corner, just enough to see shapes. And I lay there for a moment, staring at the ceiling, wondering why I'd woken up. Then something made me turn my head toward the window. I turned and I saw it. There was a figure standing outside the window. Now my window had louver blades, the old-fashioned glass slats, and they were half open because of the heat, so I could see through them clearly. And standing right there, maybe half a meter from the glass, was a person. Except it wasn't quite a person. It was tall, very tall, taller than a normal person. It was also thin and standing completely still. The thing that made my whole body go cold, and I mean cold, in that room was that it had no face. I could see very dark eyes, but then nothing else. Where the face should have been, there was nothing. And it was wearing something dark, maybe a long robe or clothes. I couldn't tell, but it was just standing there looking at me. It wasn't moving. It wasn't making any sound. My legs, my arms, my voice stopped working. I just lay there staring at it, and it stood there staring right back at me. I don't know how long it lasted. It felt like forever. I stopped looking at it. I blinked, opened my eyes, and that was it. It was gone. The moment it disappeared, it was like something had released me. I scrambled up and turned on every light in the room. I sat on my bed with my back against the wall until morning. I convinced myself that it was a dream. In fact, I really convinced myself. By the time Auntie Vida got up to make porridge in the kitchen and the compound was filled with the sound of mourning, children crying, someone's radio playing gospel, I'd almost believed it. I told myself that I had dreamt after a long shift at work. Or maybe because there might have been too much pepper in the contomere stew. Then the second night happened. Same time, 2:14 a.m. I was awake again before I understood why. And before I could stop myself, before I could decide not to look, I turned to the window and there it was again. The same figure, the same height, the same stillness. But there was a change. It was as if it was trying to poke itself into the room. I looked again. I blinked, opened my eyes, and it was standing still. Not banging, not scratching, just pressing, as if it wanted to come in but was waiting for permission. This time, I did make a sound, not quite a scream, but more like a sharp broken cry. Within seconds, I heard movement in the next room. It was Auntie Vida. She knocked sharply on my door. Mansa, Mansa, are you all right? And when I heard her voice, the thing outside the window turned away and vanished exactly as it did the night before. I opened my door shaking. Auntie Vida took one look at me and pulled me into her room without asking any questions. In the morning, I told her everything. I expected her to say what I'd been telling myself, that maybe I had been dreaming or maybe I was stressed. Instead, she became very quiet. She sat with her hands folded in her lap, looked out the window and said nothing for a long time. Then she said, "I've seen it too." I felt my stomach drop. She told me she'd seen it years ago before I came to stay with her. She never told anyone because she thought they wouldn't believe her. She prayed over it and it stopped, so she'd assumed it was gone. She took me to a church pastor that same afternoon, Pastor Asante, a small, calm man who didn't flinch when we told him. He said there were presences that attached themselves to certain places, to land with history. Edum was old land and a lot had happened there. So that evening, he came to the compound and prayed through every room and every corner of the courtyard. He anointed the windows and stayed until almost midnight. The third night, I woke again at 2:14 a.m. I lay completely still for a long moment, then I turned to the window. There was nothing. Just the faint yellow light. Just the old wall, just the night, quiet and ordinary. I never saw it again.